Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something, my focus is A1. Every dog has its day, it's been mine since day one. This is real grinding, I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding, and I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard.
Making this play right here, boys. Want the baseball. Who wants the baseball right here? Come on, Braden. Let's party. Hey, this is what we do. Let's go, boys. Go get him. Let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Stars are heating up. We got a whole crew today. We got Coach Justin, got Coach Ked. Gonna give you some updates, talk about a little season recap, reveal some player cards, also get into some College World Series talk as well. How are you gentlemen doing?
What's up, Josh? I'm great. Ked, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing great.
I'm doing wonderful.
Doing great. As we normally start, let's see who we got in the chat. We got a few people chatting already. We got some folks tuning in.
Yeah, we got Q-Dad in the chat. You got Finn Hawk. Looks like he's in the chat as well. Oh, yeah. And let me go see. I'm going to go and see if there's any restrictions on the chat. There shouldn't be, but a lot of guys have said that they've had trouble chatting. Then it also could be an age restriction thing as well, because I know some of them are not over 18.
We got Jacob Gray in the chat. Caden Hogan, what's up, boys? How you guys doing?
Yep, Caden Hogan, just
Hogan.
monster weekend.
Yeah.
He got hit 4 times in one day.
Love that from you, Caden Hogan. He's always in the chat on the podcast.
Yeah,
too.
we
just
it.
love when the guys tune in. So shout out to our guy Hogue.
Yep, Ked. Where's the video?
Huh?
Where's the video? I thought we were going to have a hype video. You said you were getting busy yesterday.
Yeah, I got a ways to go with all the
Yeah,
videos.
I know.
The video editing takes some time.
Yeah, video. I know. Yeah, video editing takes so much time. And then you gotta edit your edit, and then edit your edit, and then you gotta revise, and then you gotta edit the revision. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm just giving Ked a hard
We'll have
time.
another video dropping soon, I think.
No, absolutely.
It's in the
I'm gonna have it
works.
done by the end of the week.
It's in the works for sure.
So he's gonna have one done. Maybe I'll get time to actually edit a video. I haven't edited a video because I'm busy doing some cool stuff that you will see later. We're gonna reveal some player cards. 6 guys who had really great performances this weekend. So you're gonna want to stay tuned to that because their cards are getting revealed. We have a whole pack that I made. Coach Justin saw it earlier. Give him just a little taste of what you were able to witness.
Oh man, this is something pretty new for us. Josh has been doing some awesome stuff. He's making literal baseball cards of our guys. Like, you guys have no idea how cool it is. I had a few baseball cards, when I was playing pro ball and stuff. Like, that's the coolest thing you can ever have as a baseball player. Like, 99.9% of players never get a baseball card, and we're making them for our guys. So I think it's awesome. I'm not going to give away any spoilers though. But
oh yeah, it's all about giving these guys a first class experience, as I often say, and making them feel like big leaguers. Because I generally feel like when you're having fun and there's just different things that are, perks that you get with, playing ball, that you play your best because you're loose. You're like, oh, I can't, you're looking forward to it. You become more of a student of the game. And that's what we're really trying to create as far as like the culture of who we want our players to be. We want them to be locked into baseball, trying to become not only the best baseball players that they can be, but also the best young men that they can be. So, yeah, let's get into some updates. We have a tryout coming up, don't we?
We do, yeah. We've got fall tryouts already going earlier than usual this year. Got a lot of people who want to come join the Coastal Stars family. So tomorrow, I've been on the phone with 3 or 4 different parents and families today. So tomorrow night, we're going to be back in Winter Robins. We'll have a little tryout. If anybody knows somebody who wants to play this fall, we're still, adding guys. People are texting me, calling me almost every day. So it's that time. So you guys that are listening, y'all want to play in the fall, let us know. Let us know quick.
Yep. We had about 8 or 9 guys last week that came out. Saw a couple good players there, and it was good to just be around baseball and see the candidates that we're getting now. That we're starting to mature. So, if you haven't registered, I'd stress this to my guys after our last game. If you haven't registered for that fall, you need to go ahead and get registered because, we got some guys that, want to come in and be a part of the Coastal Stars family. And we would love to say, hey, like, we don't have room for you because all our guys are coming back. But we know, things come up and, some guys are playing football and different things like that. But if you're planning on playing in that fall, then go ahead, get registered, or at least let us know that, hey, Coach, I'm coming back. So.
Right. Yep. Parents got a big email today. A lot of stuff was sent out with some schedules, some changes, the fall info, tryout info. So you guys should have gotten emails today. Another reminder, the tryouts are for new players only. So if you guys are currently on a team, you don't have to try out, but just let us know. Let me know. Reach out to me if you guys are wanting to play. Also, we sent out a link today, Josh. Talk about the link I sent out.
Yes. So you all got a link to the pictures for summer 2025. I actually haven't edited the ones that I took at PBR, so those actually aren't in there. But all the pictures from Scout Day, pictures from Media Day. I think most of the pictures from Inter Squads, there's a few that I have to submit for that. But most of the pictures are up. So you just click on that link. You can go. You can download your favorite shots of yourself, post them. I think, did you announce the competition?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So we got a
what's the
competition. We've already had, a handful, maybe a dozen people
let's
posting
go.
it. So people are taking those photos. We're trying to give away a wood bat. I have some, like we did last summer. I mean, we're giving away a lot of stuff, especially at All-Star Weekend, but we always give out wood bats every year. So I've got some wood bats. I want to give out a wood bat to the person whose Facebook or Instagram post gets the most likes. So you guys use that link. I emailed it, and players have it in GroupMe. So players have done it. I've seen several guys post some stuff. I've seen parents take some pictures and post them as well. So whoever's post gets the most likes by Thursday at midnight, I'm going to give their player a free wood bat. So you guys go do that. Make sure you hop on that. Make sure you tag us too. So if you don't tag us, I'm not going to see how many likes your post has. So trying to keep up with them. But that's what we got. Ked, we got a few comments in the chat.
Yep. What up, Jacob Gray?
Aimed at you, I think, Ked. I don't know if there's anything you want to address. Bo Greer says, "What's up, Mr. Zimmer?" We love it when Coach Ked hops on the podcast with us. Coach Ked, what you got?
Oh, that's a party foul.
Did really well the other day, so
wait, go ahead.
props to him.
Who are you talking about? It cut out.
Yeah, who'd you say,
Bo
Ked?
Greer.
Yeah, Bo Greer.
Greer.
Yeah, Bo Greer did throw it really well yesterday.
Mr. Zimmer.
Or, was it yesterday?
I think. Oh, we have both Quentin Petersons in the chat. We got senior and junior.
We bet Big Q and not quite as Big Q.
Yep. Hope you're feeling better, Q. I know you suffered probably a mild concussion. But hope you're feeling better. Hope you be able to get back out on that field. Well, his team's off this week, so
yeah, that's good.
He's
So
got a good
this weekend.
good bit.
But yeah, Q, tell us how you're feeling, man. I talked to him. I called him yesterday. I think I can't keep the day straight, honestly. I called him in the last 48 hours to check on him, and he said he was feeling a little bit better.
Good.
But yeah, man, concussions are no joke. So be careful. obviously. Head injuries are nothing to play with. So, yeah, Q, how you feeling, man? Let us know in the chat.
Love it. Yep. So let's go ahead and get into the season recap.
Wait a
Or
minute,
do we
wait.
have any more updates?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
All right, we did this a few weeks ago too. I want to give something else away. Hold on, we got a funny chat. Yeah, Kitty Teddy. Somebody's got to say it.
Teddy is a dog.
I don't think he likes that nickname.
He can't stand it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I can't blame him. We'll move on. But yeah, I'm trying to give away this T-shirt. Noah Parker won it last time, and whoever comments the best question, we want to answer questions from you guys.
That's not you. That's you.
Yeah, right there. Coastal Stars baseball shirt. I got extras. So we want to give away one of the shirts. Best question submission at the end of the podcast, the Q&A portion. We're going to answer questions, and me, Ked, and Josh are going to figure out which one we like the most, and that person will get one of these T-shirts. So go ahead and drop down some questions in the chat, guys. We're going to be talking about a few things before then, so you got some time. But let us know. If your chats aren't going through, then you can text me. It might pop up on my phone. We might talk about it. So if you want to share it, drop a comment, drop a question.
Yep. Drop it down in the chat, and I will be tagging them and saving them for later. So, yeah. Now, let's get into the season recap. I don't have any graphics for this. I was running behind that city council meeting. I went to a city council meeting for a great reason
talk
today.
about the city
Yeah,
council meeting?
I will. This is.
You want me to tell them?
Well, yeah, but I also have a funny. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, Josh is looking nice this evening, everybody. He's wearing some slacks with some nice shoes, too. He just got back from a city council meeting. For anyone who doesn't know Josh's family, their genetics, they can run really fast. And his mom is you might have to give this
No,
specifics.
so she is the world champion in the 60-meter indoor hurdles for her age group, which is ages 55 to 59.
Yeah, so she can run.
Yeah.
And she can hurdle. And so she won the world championship this year.
Yep, about 2 months ago in Gainesville, Florida.
For her age group. So big stuff there for Miss Sonia. Shout out to her. And at a city council meeting, she was named, and they had today in Warner Robins, right?
Yeah, it was today.
Sonia Profit Day.
Yeah,
It's Sonia
they named
Profit
it.
Day, right?
It's-
Today.
Yeah, they declared
So
it
that's
today.
pretty incredible.
What was really funny was, and for those of you guys who don't know, she ran track in college, ran track all over her life, and then of course she had kids, not run track no more.
Yeah.
You know, and then so after my brother and I graduated, my brother just finished up baseball last year. But like leading up to that, she was like, I need to, do something. What am I going to do with my time? I'm not driving around to baseball tournaments and stuff. So she's like, I'll just get back into track and field. So over the last 3 years, she's been kind of training and preparing. And that competitive spirit just keeps coming out. And she went to nationals 2 years ago and actually got third in just a 60-meter dash. And then last year, she decided to go over hurdles because that was like her best race growing up and what she got recruited to Michigan State for. And so she got first in nationals, but they didn't have worlds indoor last year. And so this year she was like, oh no, I want to be the world champ. Yeah, because that's when, Australians, Frenchmen, everybody from around the world, literally come. And it's really cool to see a lot of older people just in shape like that, and really, giving it their all and being competitive. A lot of our players could probably learn, if they go to one of those events, they'd be like, whoa, these people are intense.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it takes when you just have that competitive itch, you just have it. And so she ran there and she won. It was a great race. And so we went to city council today, and we thought she was just getting an award for, and getting a little bit of recognition. And they actually messed up her middle name. So her middle name, it starts with a B, but they kept saying J. And so they were like Sonia J Profit. And then they kept saying Day. So I was like, they are just butchering my mom's name as they were reading this thing. And then they get to the part and they're like, yeah, we're declaring this Sonia J Profit Day. We're like, what?
That's incredible.
It was crazy. And so,
That's awesome.
yeah, we were talking about having the J change, but she was like, as far as I'm concerned, the J just stands for Josh and Jake, and Jacob's my younger brother. And so she's like, we'll just keep it.
We'll just roll with it.
Today's Sonia J Profit Day
That's awesome.
in the city of Warner Robins.
Shout out to
So,
Josh's mom. That is so
really,
cool.
really cool stuff.
I don't even remember what we how we got on that topic. What were we about to talk about next?
I think we were just talking about just people's. Oh, just the recap.
Fair enough. Let's get back to that.
Yep.
But
Just
yeah, shout
about
out
to
to your mom.
recap.
That's awesome. Ken, tell us about your team. Talk about some top performers. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I want to say a couple big swings. Jonathan Turner had a big weekend, a triple smash in the gap at Gordon State. Uh, I think Finn threw it really well at Gordon State. He struggled a little bit in the first inning, but after that settled in and went deep into the sixth inning, I believe. Gave us a really competitive outing. And then we went to Georgia College on Sunday morning, and I'm going to give a little backstory to the home run that was hit. So we had Travis starting, and he ran into some arm tightness, whatever, and we went to Bo Greer out of the pen, who's formerly from like Josh's team, and he didn't get to throw. And we were like, hey, come throw for us. We'll get you in, whatever. And he comes in against a team that is a solid team, but they were they just wanted to smack talk and
Oh
more
yeah, it
so
was
than
funny.
play.
It was
It
funny.
was bad. And it gets to, I want to say, the fourth or fifth inning,
Mhm.
and they are just chirping him. And he gets a big strikeout out of the inning, and he's just letting them have it. Not like going towards them or anything like that, just reciprocating the energy. And the umpire's like gotta get him to the dugout or whatever, and he's not like going against his will or anything, just patting his glove, whatever. And then Jackson Thompson goes up first pitch and hits one off the light pole in
Yeah.
right center, and it
It
was
was electric. It was crazy.
it
That's
was
so
the
awesome.
best.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was a really cool turn of events to
Yeah.
see. And then from there, we kind of just ran with it. We had multiple big swings. I think Dylan had a big swing. Trying to think of who else had big swings and good outings this weekend. I'm sure I'm missing some, but the team overall played really well this weekend. A lot of competitive baseball and a lot of good things to see.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I was always trying to follow the stats and look at our stat sheets. You know, as our coaching staff, we send the stat sheets to Josh as he compiles all the metrics and the analytics and everything. I love seeing all those numbers, man. Especially like I saw Jackson, it was like single homer. I was like, that's a decent day.
That's
So yeah, good
that's a good
stuff
day.
there. That was awesome. I heard about that game a lot. Josh,
Yes.
talk about some guys for you that stood
Yeah,
out.
my team took a big stride forward. It started from the last tournament, right? So we had the kind of combined consolation super. Well, I guess the first one was a super team. The second one was a we had 2 POs on the field. We only had 9 guys, but we tied both games, and so it was like, all right, we're starting to see some progress, especially with the guys who were position players. And then going into this weekend, just kind of a rough event for us because our first day, the Friday, we're supposed to play 2 games,
Yeah, it was
and we're
tough.
at Mercer. Had a good first inning, put up a run, gave up a run, but Brandon Fuller was starting to settle in. He was like, "No, I'm dialed in." He was ready to go, and he gets 1 out in the second inning, and they're like lightning, and we're like, the sky is just beautiful. And he's like, nope, it's got the alert. And so we sat there for like 30 minutes and with the same sky, the field looks perfect. And then he's like, oh, rain's going to come. And so we tarp the field, it rains, and then it's, great skies. And so we're like, oh, we're about to play again. Now, like hours pass and they're like, no, lightning. And so we sat there for a good like hour, 45 minutes. And then they're like, we're going to can this game, but we had a game at Gordon State. And we're like, go ahead to go to Gordon State. Your opponent's waiting for you there. You're not playing this game. And so send the guys to Gordon State, get there. 10 minutes are like lightning everywhere.
Yeah.
Not playing. So that's how the weekend began. But then the next day, guys got up, went to Georgia College early in the morning, and we looked good. A lot of quality at bats in both the games we played that day. Big swings from Carter Lee, as expected. He's always just solid in the middle of the lineup, and whenever we got guys on base, he tends to get them in. Caden Hogan, dog all weekend, just finding ways to get on base. And whenever he didn't get hit, he put good wood on the bat. Like he got hit 4 times out of 6 at bats, but his other 2 at bats, all right, line out hard to right field and then backside single hard. And so guys had obviously having a good approach. daring guys, I guess he's on the plate, daring guys to,
love that.
throw
Yeah.
it in on him. And if they, throw it over the plate, he's just, got a good backside approach. But yeah, he did really well. Had good pitching performances from Fuller in the first game, but, defense wasn't the cleanest. And so we let him back in the game and they ended up tying 8-8. But then the second game, we cleaned up the defense. Defense was just immaculate in the second game. We turned a sick double play where it's hit the first base. Matthew Albritton gets it, flips it. Easton's coming through the bag, and Matthews, sprinted all the way back to the bag to cover first. And so it was a 3-6-3 double play, and it looked good.
Yeah.
And in that second game, Carter Lee also threw a complete game, 5 innings, because we ended up run ruling them. Only gave up 1 hit. So,
Man, that's awesome.
yeah, our guys had a really good weekend, even though we only played 2 games. So looking forward to snowballing
I
it.
wish we could have got more. I tried to get them more. And
Yeah.
I was told no. So that's a big bummer. I was fortunate enough to coach both Coach Parks' teams and Coach Gentry's teams. So I'll say a couple of guys that stood out for me there. Evan Lingenfelter threw it really well at Mercer in their third game. I think he struck out 7 or 8 over 4 innings. What do we got there? Finn Hawk?
He's talking about Matthew.
We got
And then
Mr.
you
Knudsen.
Michael
What's up,
Stitt,
Mr. Michael?
Knudsen in the chat.
Then we got Cam Wilder. He swung it well all weekend. He stood out to me too. Several extra base hits. Brooks Carter swung it really well this weekend. Reed had several hard hit balls, and Taven had some good at bats as well. And so they had some good offense. The thing with Coach Cal's team is they didn't throw enough strikes, and they didn't play the best defense, and we kind of got blooped a little bit. I remember one of the games I was there, we ended up losing a game, and we almost came back and won. But they when they throw strikes, they're really good because they can swing it. So they had hit well all weekend, so that was some good stuff there.
Yeah, I looked at when I got their charts, I was like, how did they lose?
Right, exactly.
Like ever.
It's because we walked 12. That's
Right,
how.
right.
So the pitching there
That'll
needed
kill
a
you.
little bit of help, and we talked about that. Like they're such a good offensive team, and they just don't throw enough strikes. And then from Coach Parks' team, I know Brogan Hunter had a monster weekend. I think there was one game where he went 3 for 3.
Yeah.
I think he threw like 5 innings.
No, he threw 7.
He threw
all
all-
7.
he threw
went
all
7 innings, 75 pitches, and like 3 hits, 1 earned run or something like that.
Monster weekend for Brogan. So he did extremely well. And obviously, if you throw 7 innings on 75 pitches, your defense is pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they played good defense behind him. That's awesome to see. Coach Parks' team, guess what did they win 2 or 1 game? I can't remember.
They went 1-1-1.
1-1-1. That's right. They tied 1. So somehow we keep finding ways to tie.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
But yeah, they played some really good baseball. So that's awesome to see. I can't remember. Did Coach Parks list anybody else?
It was Brogan. He didn't list anybody else, but I know that just in talking with him, he said that Zach Chapman, I believe, threw well.
Yeah, I think he told me that
He
too.
said he threw that well. Let me see. I had a couple of other guys, I think, from his team that I'm trying to remember just from logging the stats. But yeah, it seemed like they, played well. It looks like their defense was pretty solid. I think they struggled a little bit with the bats in that last game, and that's the only reason they ended up tying, right? Because I think they played well enough to win the game. They just didn't hit well enough to.
Yeah, they
win
had
the
way
game.
too many strikeouts. They ended up tying 1-1 yesterday in their third game, and credit to their defense. And then I heard John Williams threw it really well out of the pen. I think he went like 3 or 4
awesome.
innings of shutout baseball. So that was really good. So a lot of good individual performances there. And then we had my team. You were at my last game. It was a load of fun. We had 15 hits, so that's always a good time.
You guys had 10 hits in 1 inning, and 13 guys reached base safely in 1 inning.
I think we only scored that 1 inning. Did we score any other innings?
No.
We scored.
You
We
scored
put up an
all
11 spot.
in the 1 inning.
In one inning.
No, I think you scored like 1 or 2.
It might have
that-
been. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think it
like
was like 1 or 2 in that
2 to
first
1,
inning. Yeah,
and then we put up a 10 spot.
Yeah, it was crazy. It
Yeah,
was
it
a
was-
lot of fun
it was-
though,
it
because
was
it was
fun.
like whoever got in the box, it was just like bam, bam, and it was like all hard hit balls too. Like it was
awesome.
really good to see.
Wills Gates threw it pretty good for me this weekend. A couple of guys that really stood out were Brady Stevers out of the pen. I love that kid, man. He's got some moxie. He's got some dog.
He's
in
got
him.
some dog.
He's
in
not
him
the
for
biggest
sure.
guy. He's not the most imposing, but when he's in the box, he has a presence, and when he's on the mound, he has a presence. So Brady, if you're watching, keep it up, dude. Keep working hard. Keep being a dog. Hudson Starley threw it really good out of the pen. Michael Knudsen threw it really good to close the first game we had where we ended up winning. So my team won 2 games this weekend, and I know I'm missing a lot of guys, but the amount of baseball I've coached in the past 72 hours,
You can't remember it all.
It's all fuzzy. It's all fuzzy. But yeah, a lot of my guys on my team did really well, and I think we'll talk about some of the hitters here soon. So we got some shakeups in the leaderboards after this weekend, some really good offensive stuff going on. We talked about it a couple of the other podcasts, like how good the competition was up at Lake Point in those first 2 events. And then this weekend, I think we took advantage of some pitchers that might not have been so good, and our offense exploded. So that was awesome.
Which is what you want to see, right? I mean, obviously you go to Lake Point and you're facing like some of the top competition in the country, and you're like, oh, I want to blister baseballs. But the reality is, like, you got to scrap and win and claw to really win up at Lake Point. And in these tournaments, like, there's good teams, but the caliber of teams just isn't the Lake Point standard. And so when your guys show up and they perform and they play like they're capable of, it really just puts a smile on your face, and it brings you joy, because it's like, okay, yeah, this is what I've been waiting on, So it's always good to see that. But yeah, speaking of the leaderboards, do you have anything before we move on to that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so
we can just dive into some of our offensive metrics. Proflytics, take it over.
Yeah, so leaderboards, we have a new number 1. Before I get to that, though, just looking at the overall leaders, we have Reed Harden taking over in plate appearances. So he's at 41. So, that's just a testament to Cal's team. They're just getting through the lineup, and so they're getting that leadoff guy. A lot of ABs. They're just getting a lot of ABs in general. Every time I see their stat sheet, it's like, oh, everybody got 3 at-bats. That's awesome. But yeah, so as far as people getting on base, Brooks Carter has accumulated the most bolt, which is, basically the stat that measures how often that you can get on base, and then you accumulate it over time.
Yeah,
so he's accumulated that.
He's the leader in quality of bats.
And he's a leader in quality at bats. So yeah, I was just getting ready to say that.
Okay, sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, he's leading in quality at bats. But however, Caden Hogan quality at bat percentage. So Caden Hogan now is my leadoff hitter. Wasn't leading off before, but he gets on base at a such a high clip. His 77% quality at bats is outrageous.
Yep.
And so that's why he's in that spot. Brody Rogerson, Sir Raj, as I call him,
monster.
Monster.
Yeah.
He's carrying the team. Like, your team's had a good weekend, but his carry is in the number 1 spot right now, 117 with the carry. So he's over the 100 benchmark that we set for a star player. And so just absolutely having a monster season, and y'all have the Natty coming up. So looking forward to big things there as well. But let's get to the number 1 spot. So the top 10 had a shakeup. Jonathan Turner had been holding down that number 1 spot basically all season.
Hold on. Not Jonathan Turner.
Well, Christian Hewitt. It's been a combination of Christian Hewitt, Jonathan Turner.
It was Reed too.
No, Reed wasn't. Reed's been in top 10.
Okay, maybe I'm having brain fog.
I think you were talking about last year. Reed was up there.
That's okay.
Yeah, last year Reed was up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jonathan Turner and Christian Hewitt. And not that they've Christian's, he's still in the top 10, even though he's fallen a little bit. And Jonathan Turner, as you heard Ked talk about, had a good weekend, still batting .435. But we have some guys like Brooks Carter, surpass him. Connor Price, of course, is still in the top 3 in that 3rd spot. We just mentioned Brody Rogerson. He's number 2.
He's number 2.
But number 1,
yep.
and your new Coastal Star, Golden Star, is Cam Wilder.
That's right.
Just legacy player. His brother played for us.
Yep.
Now he's playing for us, and he's matured, and I think he's growing into what we thought he could be. Like, he's always been a solid player, but now he's really having a breakout season. And like you said, he's hitting balls hard.
He did. Yeah, I saw him hit several balls hard. And, I mean, Coach Cal's team is fun to watch hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were down 8-1 in a game because the other team got so lucky and blooped a bunch of hits.
Yeah.
And we might have made an error or two and walked too many guys. Umpire was, kind of tight. And we're down 8-1. And I'm like, guys, listen, like you guys are better than this team. And we were just, after that, we just started barreling balls.
Yeah.
And final score ended up being 8-7. And
Yeah.
we were one big hit away. And Brooks Carter, bases loaded, I think it was, tying run on third, absolutely smokes a ball with 2 outs. And it's just directly at their center fielder. So we were just extremely close to winning that game. And that's what I told those guys. And Cam Wilder's one of the guys who I think he had multiple hits that game, hit a ball or 2 in the gap. I think he had 2 doubles that game. He made a sweet play at third base this weekend too. And he came in to close the last game as well. Looked good on the mound. And so he's had a monster season. He's doing really well. And I like what you said about him, how he's kind of grown and matured into the player that we thought he could be. He's hitting 429, 70% quality at bat, carries 106. And so he's doing a great job. And he's our new number 1. So it was Connor Price. That's the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, Connor Price.
Connor Price was
and
the
he just won't die. Like he won't.
He's still up there.
He won't get out of those top 3 spots. He's been in all of them at this point. And he played for Coach Cal's team this weekend, and he's continued to do his thing. Had several hits in that first game. I think he hit a double or 2 in the second game, and so he's just continuing to be that star player for whoever he's playing for.
That's right.
But also another guy I want to highlight is Brooks Carter, because he was a guy who we were really high on pitching wise, right? And we're like, I mean, he can swing it a little bit, but he's absolutely just going off.
He's done awesome, man. I think I saw him hit like 5 or 6 line drives this weekend.
That's awesome.
And he's been playing really well. So
and that goes to show you when you're making consistent contact, hard contact, you're gonna find holes, right? Mm-hmm. And so even if you've been lining out or getting unlucky here or there, just stick with the process, and they will start falling.
Yeah, and Ked, maybe you can speak to this a little bit too. But one thing I was going to that I noticed about Cam Wilder, now that he's in the number 1 spot, he's I think he's had 25 at least plate appearances, struck out 1 time. That's crazy. That's pretty good. If you're striking out 1 out of every 25 or 30 ABs, you're doing a good job at the plate. And
that is sneakily the biggest thing to just increase your average is put the ball in play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just simply put the ball in play. You want to increase all your offensive numbers, put the ball in play. Don't strike out.
Yep. And Ked, some of you, we kind of had the same talk with the guys on your team. I mean, talk about your lineup a little bit, Ked, and some of the guys. I mean, you don't have to call anybody out, but just talk about the importance. Right. Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, I went into it kind of trying to figure some things out, because we got rained out Friday night, and then Saturday, but really the whole problem we've had this summer is just inconsistency, just as an offensive as a whole. I mean, you start out the first weekend we played, we were averaging over 5 runs a game, and we just blew it away, whether it be errors or just bad pitching performances that weekend or whatever. But the one thing that I told them Sunday morning going into that game is we're kind of winding down the summer and getting ready for All-Star Weekend, and then our national championship was we're trying to play some things around with stats, because Josh, as we all know, does a really good job with the database we have, and so we take these and try to put our players in the best spot possible. Well, if you have a handful of guys or guys you usually bat at the top that you go look at their stats, it's like, well, this guy on base, or 1 every 2 at bats, there's a problem there, and something's got to be switched. And so, I mean, we switched some things around and gave some guys some different opportunities, and we still got guys ABs at the end of the game and all that. But we did that, and we went out in the first inning and put up a 3 spot, I want to say, if I remember. And we switched some things around and went back to scoring runs, and we put up 6 that game, and I think 6-2 or something like that. But that's one of the things that we talked about. I was helping Coach did the same thing with his team. It's like, hey, here's the strikeout numbers we have percentage wise, and we're not naming any names, but when you're as a team averaging, let's say 40% strikeouts, and it comes from just a handful of guys, or you have a couple outliers, and one of the guys we on Park's team was Tal. He struck out 5%, and it was, I think his 1 strikeout was literally yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was. And it's like, and Parks made that an emphasis to the team was like, if you look at him, he's best because he doesn't strike out and he gets on base. And what we're trying to do is get everybody ABs. Well, when we're striking out a ton, we're taking ABs from other guys. And so what we're trying to emphasize is those dudes are getting on base and power behind it, and you can start scoring runs. So we're starting to have stats play more of a role in the line because we're trying to put these guys in a spot to maximize what they can do on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Caden Hogan's a great example of that too.
Right.
Caden Hogan, I remember having chats with Caden Hogan, be like, dude, like you're 60 time, Caden, like we need to get it better. You know, he's not your prototypical leadoff guy, but you got him in the leadoff spot.
Yes.
Because he's having quality at bats and he's getting on base.
Yeah, and just kind of I guess more of the old conventional way of thinking is your leadoff hitter, fast guy who can steal bases. But I guess the newer, more analytical, sabermetric way of thinking is that leadoff guy needs to be like your best on base guy, right? Because he's coming up to the plate the most in any given game. And so he doesn't necessarily have to be your fastest guy or a guy that can steal bases, even though that's good to have. But he needs to be a guy that can get on base because when push comes to shove, having a base runner on in scoring position and threatening late in the game is far more important than having a guy who can base steal but hitting like 250 or their on base isn't as high. And so that's why even in the pros now you see them getting away from putting their fast base stealer at the leadoff position. They'll put their best on base guy generally there, and then second they might put that guy there because he can probably manipulate the bat a little bit and help the team out in that way. So so it's just interesting how stats and data as we study the game of baseball can play a role in helping to optimize and give players and put players in the position where they can thrive, right? Because really that's a lot of success in life in different arenas comes from, oh, this is a good fit for you. And so because this is a good fit for you, whether it be you working for a company, whether it be a position on a team, because it's a good fit and you're comfortable, now you can really thrive in this role because you're in your sweet spot. And so that's all we're looking to do with this data, and it better helps us communicate with college coaches when they come and ask hey, how's this guy doing? Well, I can tell you exactly the type of player he is rather than just always just relying on my eyeball test, because sometimes we can imagine things that aren't there, or we're reading too much into what we want that player to be. Right. But when it's on the paper, it's like, oh no, this is exactly who this guy is. Yeah. That's
right. That's why we keep our own stats. That's why we log the stuff. And so that's a lot of good stuff. And apparently Brooks's nickname is Roast Beef.
Yeah, I heard Quentin's dad calling him that. We're gonna
have the backstory on that.
Type it in the chat. He gave me a little bit of it. I think it's in regards to the food chain Arby's.
It's gotta be
out of all the places. But yeah, put that in the chat. We'll put it on the screen. Big Q. And that'll be a good laugh for all of us. Let's see. Finhawk says we need pitcher stats. And I do not disagree with that's not my iPad. I was sitting here touching that like it was my iPad.
We've talked about that a lot, Finn.
I don't disagree. Actually, this is going to be a topic of discussion on a future podcast about like how we can do it. I'm open to hearing suggestions. I have a good idea of how we can do it. The only issue with that is it's got to be simple, and it's got to be simple to tally, but also it's got to be stuff that matters essentially, right? So we got to determine what exactly matters in regards to how we need to grade our pitchers. And so it's going to take a little bit of, I guess, R&D, research and development but hopefully maybe by the fall we'll have a system. But I think definitely by next summer we'll have a system, because I think we got the hitting stats and system on lock. So
yeah, for sure. And Ked can probably speak to some of this too. But like sometimes, I mean, we already track and we already log what the other team does.
Right.
And you'll see our coaches in the dugout. Sometimes we'll give the chart to players, and it's a great thing for players to do because it helps them stay engaged in the game and it helps them learn. Like, oh, hey, this guy last time he was up, he struck out on a slider down. Like, let's do that again. And so those are the types of things that we're logging. Not as much for us to compile pitching stats, just because of how difficult it is, right? And like, there's a lot of pitching stats that are very subjective. Like you talk about ERA.
Yeah.
We don't have time in the dugout to determine whether or not
it's an earned run.
Yeah, was that a hit or an arrow?
We can't do
How
it.
about no? Like let's worry about our first and third play, right? So there's only so much we can do as coaches, but we do track what the other teams do, and that's more so to help us have the best chance to win and be competitive. So we're working on that. That's a great thought there, Finn.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll let you know when we're going to talk about it because I think it's a good conversation to have. Also, a lot of guys, specifically this weekend, asked me like, well, how do you calculate this and how do you calculate that? So my plan is to do some deeper dives on how this stuff is actually calculated so you guys can, understand it better. Because, I mean, everybody understands average, on base percentage and all that because it's traditional stats and it's stuff that's probably been tracked for you, all your life. But, the Prophylytic stuff is, I mean, it's even new for me because I, am in the invention process as we speak of, defining exactly what everything is. So I want to be able to, make, even if it's like some separate videos of like, oh, this is exactly what carry is. This is what it means. This is why we track it the way we track it. This is how it was built and why we track it that way. So look forward to that. So just to kind of piggyback off of that last comment, Finn.
Very good. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go. Ked, I want to hear your thoughts. I think we're going to go ahead and we can jump into some player cards.
Yes.
So we'll do that next. Ked, based off of the discussions we've had about players over the weekend, Ked has no idea what players have cards that are about to be opened
this is
up.
awesome.
So, Ked, what do you think? Put those some names out.
Yes.
Who do you think should have cards tonight opened up live on this podcast?
I think it's the first big fly of the year. So Jackson Thompson. I think. This are we taking it just from this weekend?
Yeah, these are cards.
Are we taking
The cards that we're opening
from the
today.
summer?
The cards that we're opening today are just for this weekend. Now in the pack,
Okay.
it's from the summer, but the cards we're opening today just from this weekend.
I would say Jackson Thompson. Bo Greer threw it really well. Brogan threw it really well for Parks' team. It's been a couple of guys you guys said. I think Cam Wilder is swinging it really well right now. I think that could be another card.
That's a good candidate.
I'm trying to think. Y'all are hyping up Brooks Carter. I haven't got to see him play much. I think I've seen him play earlier in the year with Coach Cal's team. Is that it? At Lake Point. I mean, that dude can play too. Based on what y'all said, I would say him too.
All right. Very good. Josh?
All right. Well, we're going to open our first pack. We'll open the second pack after we go through a little bit of infield identity. But let's get into this first pack. Hopefully I remember the right things. All right. First pack. Here we go. Also, Kat, I don't think they can hear you, so sorry. First card. We got Evan Lingenfelter.
Let's go.
Second card. We got the whole 28 Premier team because they got 10 hits. Okay, yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. All right, hold on.
Let's go back. We're going to try to go back, I think. Josh, can we go back? The fireworks were cool, though.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Okay, there we go. Okay, and the third card, we got Mr. Carter Lee.
Let's go. Yeah, Lingenfelter, the sleeper pick. We talked about him earlier, and Ked did not say Lingenfelter. I don't know how much he's got to watch him play. I heard he made 3 diving plays in the outfield this weekend. He also threw really well. We already talked about that. And what does that say at the top? 55% quality at bats?
55% quality at bats. Cal was like, he got some hits too. As a PO plus guy too, so got the PO plus badge.
He's not a PO plus.
He's definitely just a player.
He's a
but he's listed. I guess he came on as PO plus and then graduated. So
that's right.
He's got that card. He's got the access denied card for the diving plays as well as the highway robbery badge. Now the 28 Premier team. We talked about him earlier. Just unbelievable stuff. 13 quality at bats in 1 inning. is that's
Yeah, it was fun.
If you have
man.
13 quality at bats in one game, you're like, that was a good game.
Exactly.
But
We
one
did
inning
it-
is
we did it in one
unbelievable.
inning. And yeah, one quick story about my team. My favorite moment of the entire weekend of baseball was when we had runners at second and third, and Brody Rogerson was coming up to the plate, and he's the number 2 current hitter in the program. And I think after he absolutely smoked the ball his first at bat, the other team kind of realized he was really good.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hey, we're putting him on." And there was nobody out at the time.
They were like,
Yeah.
They were like, hey, put him on.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Logan Wilcher came up next, and Logan, I talked to Logan over the weekend. Like, he's come such a long ways too. Like last season and last year, Logan was a guy who I was like, he's kind of mixing in a little bit. He can play second, And this season, he's stealing bases for me.
Yeah.
He's coming in on the mound in tight spots. He's climbed his way up in my lineup. I had him 1 and 2, and then when I got Brody and Reese back, he jumped back down to the 4 or 5 spot. But he's done incredible. And so they walked Brody. Logan came up, smoked a double down the line,
Yeah, it was
right down
awesome.
the line, bases clearing double.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite moment of the entire weekend. So shout out to
You know,
Logan.
what was also funny is Brody was hot after he got walked. He was like, I drove 3 hours with him to
That's
intentionally
right.
walk me.
That's
and
crazy.
then he was so pumped when Logan hit that because he was like, that's how you respond.
That's right.
And that's the camaraderie there is awesome because he could have just been like whatever, like we're about to blow this team out anyway. Like I'm mad, but he's a big team guy. He adds a lot of energy to the team, and I think he just makes your team better in every way. Not
doubt.
only in the dugout, but obviously his play speaks for itself. But yeah, and then my guy Carter Lee, 5 innings, only gave up 1 hit, but then he also had a 500 batting average on the weekend. I think he probably had like 4 or 5 RBIs with those 3 hits too. So coming in clutch on both sides of the ball, and so he earns the shutdown badge because he threw it wasn't a shutout, but he shut the other team down, and then the access denied badge for keeping them at bay as well. We got one more pack for you guys coming up after we get into a little bit of
So hold on,
infield
was Ked 0
identity.
for 3? Ked was
He was 0 for 3 there.
Oh, 0 for 3, Ked.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy.
It's all right. We got one more pack. Are we
Yeah.
doing it right now?
No, we're not going to do it right now because I got to reload it. So we're going to go to the infield identity,
Cool.
and we'll open it after the infield identity and into the college picks before we close the show.
Yeah, there we go. If you're an infielder and you're watching this, I would like for you to comment right now and say I'm watching, because this was kind of a last minute segment we just threw in here just to fill some space. Not that it's not really important, but it's for infielders. And if I don't have a whole lot of infielders in here, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time teaching Finn Hawk and Bo Greer about infield play.
Yeah, that's probably wise. So let's see.
Not that Finn and Bo Greer can't play infield one day. Maybe
Yeah,
they could.
we
I
got
don't know.
24 guys in here. Not sure how many pitcher or infielders that we actually have watching. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go tune up a couple quick things here.
Okay.
I'll have you and Ked entertain the people for a second.
We got
Hey,
Hogan.
Finn's already got to play first base before.
Yeah, so maybe he does need to hear this stuff. We got Hogan.
During our
Hogan's
doubleheader
watching.
with, what was it? I forget what high school during a Lake Point tournament where
We
we
got
had
Nuts watching. There we
on that
go.
second team.
Yeah. All right, cool. So Josh is queuing up our next pack here, and what I'm gonna kind of be referencing here is a player resource that we have. It talks about infield identity, and it talks about 3 different traits that all elite infielders have. And I have other really long lists, checklists for each position. Things like there's a checklist for what shortstops need to be able to do. And it talks about holding runners. It talks about knowing tandem cutoffs. It talks about knowing first and third place. And it's a pretty comprehensive list. We're not going to get into that tonight, Ked, but this is kind of a simplified version of infield play. And this was actually kind of taught to me by one of my college coaches, Coach Pavkovich, and he is currently the infield coach, assistant coach, I believe, at Navy still. He was with Notre Dame. I think it was Navy. I can't remember if he's at Notre Dame or Navy right now, but really good coach. and really good third base infield guy. But there's three things that make good infielders. And anybody who is listening right now, I know we got Hogan and Nuts and maybe a few other guys. Let me check the chats. Jacob Gray, Q, Cam Water. So yeah, we got a handful of guys here. Guys, I'm going to send this in the group me for you guys to read. All right. But the three things that good infielders do, they have focus, they play aggressive, and they stay athletic. So FAA, I think that stands for what? Future? Is it the Farmers? That might be FFA. But anyways,
Yeah.
for the sake of this acronym, it's FFA: focus, aggressive, athletic. And I'll briefly talk about each of those three traits. So, Ked, how many games does a major league team play in a season?
162.
It's a lot of games, isn't it? So how in the world do some big league shortstops only make like 8 errors in a season? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, right.
You ever think about that? It's because they have the ability to stay in the present 100% of the time. It'd be so easy to kind of go off in la la land, and we see it with our players all the time. Especially if your pitcher struggling, maybe he's walking the house, and maybe he's not giving you a whole lot of action, right? Maybe you haven't got a ground ball all day. But the secret to why infielders at the big league level can make 8 errors in that many games is because they believe 100% of the time that every single pitch is about to be hit to me. And that's the level of focus that it requires. It requires unbelievable discipline to stay focused to that extent for that amount of time every single day. You can't be worried about the future. You can't be worried about the error you made last game. But that level of focus involves a ton of attention to detail, and it's really about how committed you are to your craft. And really, if you kind of look at the math, you can take time off in between pitches. Catcher's getting a new ball, or it's a foul ball, or an on-deck batter's grabbing a foul ball. Like, that's a mental break for an infielder, right? But as soon as that pitcher gets the ball and he's about to toe the rubber, now I'm focused. Now I'm working on my prep step. I'm landing on time, and I have to believe that baseball is about to come to me. And that's the only way you can do it. Sweet. Now Josh queued it up. So that's the focus aspect. The next one is aggressive. So there's two types of infielders. There's aggressive infielders and there's safe infielders. And this goes right on cue with one of the things we talk about a lot with our guys is we want people to play aggressive and not safe, not passive. Safe infielders get the least out of their potential. They're happy as long as they make those routine plays, right? If you make the routine plays, like, you're all right. That's how safe infielders play. They never really want to step outside of their comfort zone. They don't really attempt to lay out, make extraordinary plays. They're not those guys that come up clutch in that do or die moment where it's like an incredible play. They just don't step up in those moments. But no college coach, no professional coach, no big league manager wants players who play that way. They want the guys that look at every single ground ball as a challenge and an opportunity. And if it's way out of my range, I might still lay out for it, because I'm a guy who, when I lay out, I'm seeing how far I can go. And that's one of the things I talked to Coach Cal's team. Like, there was an opportunity where a guy or two could have laid out, tried to make a play, and they don't dive. I'm like, dude, how are you ever going to figure out what your true limits are unless you full extension dive? And that's what infielders have to do. That's how you have to play aggressive. And it's kind of like that outfield play we talk about a lot, where I would rather you come in and lay out and miss a fly ball as an outfielder than let it land in front of you playing safe.
You're right. No,
Because
absolutely.
you got to have guys that play with their hair on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the aggressive aspect. And that's kind of a mindset that you have to really work on. It's for most young players, it's not really a switch. Like, it's something you have to actually think about and practice,
Right,
and commit to doing. So that's the aggressive aspect there. And then lastly, athletic. I talk about this a lot. I can hit ground balls to a guy and pretty quickly see how athletic they are based on how their body moves, what's their posture look like, and what their eyes do when they're fielding. And really, the best infielders, they always stay athletic. It doesn't matter if it's a routine ball right at me or if it's a one-hand play to my left or right. They just find a way to stay athletic. And a lot of that has to do with being adaptable with your arm slot. You have to be able to throw over the top. You have to be able to throw sidearm, down low, on the run, standing still, being part of tandem relays, cutoff guys. You just have to stay athletic. And if you can't stay athletic as an infielder, and a lot of our guys need to practice this, you know, I mean, this is elite stuff. This isn't stuff their JV coaches are teaching them, you know. But a lot of infield ground balls and plays require fielding balls that are not in the textbook fielding position. A lot of them are one-hand plays. A lot of them are slow rollers. You got to come get them. So all those different, you know, aspects and different types of ground balls, they all require athleticism. Last sentence there, it says balls hit laterally, hard hip one hops, slow rollers. Those will be plays where moving your feet and using one hand will increase your chances of successfully completing the play. You have to stay athletic in everything you do on the field as an infielder. So those are three kind of overarching traits that good infielders have. Elite infielders, I should say. So we'll leave it at that.
Right.
We won't go any further tonight. I could talk about it all night, but we're not going to. Ked, what you think about that stuff?
The thing when you were going over what each, like kind of what the acronym was this video I saw on Twitter, I think today, of a guy in the College World Series, and this popped up in my head when you were talking about focus. He, I want to say it was Arkansas, center fielder, makes an incredible diving catch, and then goes up and hits a game-winning hitter. It was. And he got a press conference after the game, and they were like, well, how do you do that? Like what, why is it so easy? And he was like, because I practice mental reps every single night. He said, I know I can just make the play. That what looks hard isn't hard to me. And that plays a role in the focus that infielders need to have as well. Is like, well, big time infielders know, hey, if a ball's hit here, I know exactly what I'm doing, and everything is just second nature. And so what may look really hard on TV is just a simple play for them, is as hard as it actually is.
Yeah, it might be a play they've done 100 times. Yeah, good stuff there, Ked. Love that. Very good. Josh, do we have our next pack queued up?
Oh, we sure do, buddy.
Let's see if Ked can get any right this time. He already threw his guesses out there. He's 0 for 3. I think he's.
Are
got a
you
better
sticking
chance.
with those guesses, or do you want to change anything?
I don't know. What do you got, Ked?
Is the criteria the same still from the weekend?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
Just
Okay, I'm gonna go 3 guesses only.
Okay.
I'm going Bo Greer.
Okay.
One.
okay.
I'm gonna go Brogan Hunter,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go, and I'm still gonna stick with Jackson Thompson.
All right. Well, he went 0 for 3 last time. Let's see if he can get at least one. Here we go. So we have Bo Greer
Boom.
in that first. So he's 1 for 1, ladies and gentlemen. And the second one, we got Mr. Brogan Hunter.
Let's
so
go.
He's 2 for 2. So yeah, Bo Greer, 4 innings pitched, 0 hits, 5 Ks. So really good outing there. And then Brogan Hunter, complete 7 innings pitched, only gave up 3 hits, 8 Ks, and only 1 run given up. And let's see if Mr. Kedrick can go 3 for 3. The last card is, in fact,
Let's go, Ked.
Jackson Thompson. Home run versus the Macon Pain. He actually gave them pain. Good job, Ked.
Ked, that was impressive, buddy.
That was
Well
good.
done.
I think I get the reward for the shirt.
Yeah, maybe you deserve the
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, I haven't had a single question in the chat. So,
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna
reminder,
have to give-
there is still a competition
Yeah,
going
we're gonna
on.
have to give Ked an extra shirt. That's fine. He's already got one. He deserves another one. He went 3 for 3 there. Very nice.
Yeah.
We do have a couple. Let me see, a couple questions that were submitted. I don't know what I have to do to get these people to give us some good questions. Maybe it's past everybody's bedtime. I don't know.
Maybe I guess we got to do it early or something.
Yeah, I don't know. One of our previous guys I still talk to all the time, Cam Layfield, dropped a good question.
Oh, yeah.
This was on Instagram, and he asked, he said, who does Coach Justin think the best infielder in the College World Series is?
Ooh.
So that was a good question. And unfortunately, I can't answer that
Yeah.
because I've been coaching so much baseball.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I
I
have gotten to watch enough College World Series
Yeah.
to answer that.
I'm just looking at scores and highlights.
I'm doing good if I catch all the highlights. And obviously, I watched the Arkansas game today. What was his name?
Gage Wood.
Gage Woods, dude threw a no hitter.
19 strikeouts.
That was electric.
That's crazy.
So I get to watch some of that game. I was really sad, Josh, and maybe we'll talk about this in a second. But the Murray State team is going home.
Yeah,
so that is sad. But obviously, it's pretty tough to.
They had a good run.
Pretty tough to beat a dude who just absolutely carves and throws a no hitter. So, but they had a magical run, man. That team was really cool, fun to watch. And I love their coach, man. A lot of the stuff he said in interviews was awesome. So sorry, Cam Layfield, if you're watching. First off, Cam, I need you in the chat if you're watching. But secondly, I can't answer that question. I have not watched enough to see who my favorite infielder is. Sorry. One other question we had that was pretty good, and I'll let you guys answer this one first. It came from a player who's not in our program, but he's a teammate of at least 4 or 5 guys in the program.
He goes to Lowndes or something?
No, he goes to, I think he's a Taylor County guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think his name is Jax. He asked, how do you know a player is fully developed? So I've thought about it a little bit. But I'm gonna let you guys.
Oh, you're gonna let me go?
You
Okay.
two try and answer that question.
Just off the top of my head, and then before I kind of piggyback off of what you guys say, is when he stops, because I don't think you're ever truly developed unless you just stop, being like a student of the game. Like I say, if you just stop improving, because you can kind of peak out, I guess, or plateau, but you should still have a little bit of no, I'm still kind of getting better in different areas, or adjusting to, how. Like the best example is when star players get older, like Albert Pujols. He was in his prime at one point and he was doing everything well, essentially. But then, as he got older, right, he was already slow, but then he became really slow. So he had to adjust his game and adjust how he played, and probably his approach, especially with the game probably speeding up. When he got in the league, it was a different, pitchers pitched a little bit differently than when he exited the league. But so he had to constantly evolve his game, and understand who he was as a player in that moment, because he got older. He wasn't able to probably get to, that fastball that was upper 90s as quickly. And so maybe he was standing, at different spots in the box. But yeah, just always making adjustments. When you stop making adjustments, you have effectively stopped your development, because baseball is a game of adjustments.
Great answer. Kid, what you got?
I'm going to give a 2-parter to go off what Josh said. I think when it comes to physical maturity and development, I think everyone is on the same page of people or MLB guys will fully hit their physical peak and their performance level at 25 to 30 when they have experience, but they also have that physical development. But like Josh said, no one's ever. The best players are going to take the environment they're given and then alter how they used to play and how they used to move and critique themselves to then continue to perform. Because there are certain, I know one of my professors talked about, it's not baseball, but you look at LeBron James is not physically the best anymore. He's still huge, don't get me wrong, but his stats are continuously just progressively good. But he's not what he used to be. Take Pujols for example. The dude hit, 500 home runs or whatever his mark was, and he wasn't always going to be able to move. He had to stop playing first base at one point, I think, and became DH or whatever it was, because they can't move anymore, but they still are able to perform. And it's because they're able to take their game and change it based off what they're given. Because I don't think there's ever hey, I'm fully developed. It's eventually they'll hit a decline because they can't play anymore, but I think if they take what they're given, they can continue to play as long as they can.
Yeah, that's a big thing when you go to college too, because when you get to college and you play for the first time against college teams, they don't really know you. And so if you start to have success, then they're gonna be like, oh, well, there's no scouting report on you yet. Mm-hmm. But now they start, writing down, oh, this is how we got this guy out, and they send it to this team. Yep. And so when the book's out on you, now what do? Now, some players, they're not as, in the game and making adjustments. And so then they start to struggle, right? You see
that,
that you
yeah.
literally see their average go down game to game.
My freshman year, I can definitely relate to that.
But yeah, it's all about making adjustments. And then even when you've had success, like how do you adjust when, everybody else is going to adjust to you naturally? They're going to be like, hey, what are you doing? How are you having success? We got to counteract this from, a pitching standpoint so that we can keep you off the bases. So like, what are you to do when they figure you out? Like you have to evolve yourself again, because like baseball is so mental, right? It's not only the physical aspect of I got to hit this round ball with this round bat, but there's this mental aspect of like, how is this pitcher like trying to get me out, right? Can I be one step ahead of him in knowing like how he's trying to work me, so I can like sit on a fastball right here because I know that in this count he's probably gonna throw a fastball because I've studied his patterns. I know exactly what he's going to do, and so that's just like some next level stuff. But like that, it's all things that are going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, I like both y'all's answers. One of my coaches when I was in the Cape, he said you're not physically developed until you're 25.
Right.
I think that's peak for most people, and obviously this is different for everybody, but peak physicality is 25 years old. Like you're in college, you're 19, 20, 21, and the reality is you still probably got some more growth you can do. And obviously, you're still getting bigger until you hit that 25-year-old mark. So there is a physical development peak, I think.
Right.
For everybody has a physical ceiling. Genetics are involved, all that stuff plays into that. But like you guys said, a couple of things that were perfectly spot on. Being a student of the game and having the ability to adjust. Like those are two things that the best players are always doing. You're never fully mentally adjusted to the game. Like
Right,
there's
yeah,
always there's so many games within the game, and there's so much to baseball that you can't just simply be like, I know everything. It's not how it works. There's always going to be a situation. There's always a new pitcher you're facing with new tendencies and new giveaways, and he tips pitches in a new way, or his pickoff move is a little bit different than
Right.
anybody you've ever seen. And so the game's always changing. That's just how it is. And so a lot of cool answers there. I like
Yeah.
those.
One thing that I always used to think about is like you're not a good hitter until you can bat 1,000.
Yeah.
It's like,
And nobody's ever done it.
Nobody's even gotten close to that. So like we need to continue to try to figure this whole thing out because somehow we all keep failing at it, even the best of us. So
That's right.
yeah, that was a great question.
Good stuff there, boys. That's about all I got tonight. Ked, what are your final parting words for our viewers that have stuck around?
Arkansas or Coastal Carolina to the Natty, they're going to win it.
I
Yeah.
like Coastal. I like.
It's
I'm
gotta be
right
the
with those
Chance for
dogs.
me,
We
man.
do have one more. Oops, that's the wrong. Okay, yeah, we have one more question. What's the stance on kids going to JUCO and maturing instead of going to a team when you're just turning 18 years old? I think it's fine. I think it's about the situation that you get put in. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so the JUCO stuff's interesting because of some of the legislation and stuff going on. There's football rules now, NCAA not counting junior college rules, roster spots being super limited, as it is anyways. And junior college, I think for a ton of guys is probably the best option.
Right.
Because the reality is, like, especially after COVID and especially now in, unfortunately, the American baseball system, if you will, there's a lot of guys that have reclassed. There's a lot of guys who were held back when they were younger. And if you're one of those guys that is just a little bit of a late bloomer, it's
hard.
You can't compete at a D1. You can't compete at a Power 5 school. And so JUCO, for a lot of guys, it's probably the best option at the end of the day. So you can go there, you can develop, you can get more reps, more quickly. And that's one of the important things too, is like, we had, I don't know if we had one or two JUCOs at Scout Day. I can't remember all the coaches I talked to, but I know Andrew was there. Coach Biss was there. And he told me, what did he say? They had like 40 or 50 something guys on the roster, and they were going to end up replacing like 38 of them. because they had just so many guys
That's
that
crazy.
were transferring out. Like
Yeah.
some of them like going on to better
Better
schools.
schools,
And so
right,
like
yeah.
the turnover rate at junior colleges is massive.
Yeah.
Like he's looking for a lot of guys. And so it's a good opportunity to go and get reps potentially. But at the same time too, some of them do carry monster size rosters. So that's something you got to, kind of do research on. There's a few schools where, you might just be a number to those guys. And so that's another thing to think about. And at the end of the day, wherever you go, you still have to be a college baseball ready player.
Right.
And you
No,
still
yeah,
have to have the
absolutely.
skill set to go in there and compete. But at 18 years old, you're certainly not at your physical peak, and you certainly aren't at your mental peak for the game of baseball.
For
So,
sure. Yeah, I think my biggest thing is you have to go somewhere where they're gonna give you an opportunity to play right away. I think that's the best situation for anybody because, like you said, getting the reps when you're that young is more important than being on the practice squad essentially. And so go somewhere where you can have a chance to be to make an impact to help a team, whether that's JUCO, whether that's D1, D or D2, D3, wherever you fall in, which is what a lot of those coaches at Scout Day echoed. That's the sentiment that they echoed because they were like, baseball all over the country is probably at its best that it's ever been, right?
Yeah.
Not only because we kind of had the COVID bottleneck, but also because guys are just better. Like we have more advanced throwing systems and hitting performance labs and all these different things that these kids are being exposed to. And so anywhere you go, you're going to probably still play some pretty good competition. And if you get in where you fit in essentially, and then you blossom, then you're probably going to be one of those 38 guys that we just mentioned that are going on probably to a better situation for yourself.
Yeah, good question there. Shout out also Chase Watkins.
Yeah, Chase Watkins.
Chase Watkins in the chat. What's up, Chase? We miss you, buddy.
Yeah, hey, where you at, bro?
Yeah, love to see Chase Watkins in the chat.
Yeah.
He's proud of his buddy Cam.
Oh, dang.
Cam's been playing well, Chase. Good to see you.
Shout out to him. Hudson Starley
What
is
up,
in the
Huddy?
chat too. All right. Hey, we're getting questions now.
Yeah, we got Nuts.
What?
Nuts asked a good question, too.
What? All right. So
It's getting close to my bedtime, though. I'll be
I know.
honest.
What is the most important step to? Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you scared me there. I
Clear
was
my
like, "What's
throat.
happening?"
No.
What is the most important step to evolve into a more consistent hitter in the higher levels of competition?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I would say one, continue to play higher level competition. That's like number one, because the more you see it, like with anything, you're going to become more confident. And you're going to be like, oh, I've seen this. That's why we go to college and you're like, upper 90s is like, oh, whoa, what is this? And then
Like 88. Psh,
yeah, now
this
you're
is
like,
nothing.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
by your second year, you're like 88. This is slow.
This guy's
Whereas
good. This guy's good
whereas in
hit.
high school, you're like almost getting blown up,
Right.
And so the more you see it, the better you'll be. But also, I'm so big on the mental approach to hitting, like getting in the box and understanding and having a plan. I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of guys in our program struggle with. I mean, just in general at the level that they're at. But if you have a plan going up into the box, and this is why you'll hear all our coaches preach, like hit the fastball. Like best way to hit a curveball is to hit the fastball early in the count. And what we're trying to get you to do is to sharpen your mental approach, because you don't want to make up your plan while you're in the box. You want to go to the box with a plan, right? It's like you have the default plan. Okay, I'm hunting a fastball, right? That's the default plan. But you also have to be studying this pitcher. Like, what is he doing? Like, how is his pitching? How is his pitches moving? Like, is his curveball breaking vertically, or is it more of like a frisbee slider, right? Because that can affect like your whole approach to the box as well. And so just becoming more fine-tuned in your mental approach, I think that is going to help you, especially when you start playing higher level competition. Because if you get it down, you're going to eat the average competition, you're just going to eat all day. You're going to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
But when you get to the higher level competition, you'll have more of an advantage.
Yeah, that's a good answer there for sure. Is the mental side, and like there's just a few themes, and I preach them. Coach Trent preaches them. We all preach them. Like at the high school level, what's the first pitch a pitcher's trying to throw 85% of the time?
It's a fastball.
Fastball away.
Yeah.
Right. And so like if you don't learn that really quickly and get on the plate and just make that fastball on the outside corner a fastball middle and just hunt that pitch, you're just for lack of better words, you're stupid. You're just a stupid player.
Yeah.
And so that's something we preach, like fastball away. That's what you're going to get first pitch. And then after that, it's understanding, like, did you watch the pitcher in warm-ups? Did you see that he spiked 3 of his curveballs? Oh, so you can eliminate that. You're not going to swing at a curveball because he can't throw over a strike, right? And then you go up there, and now all you're doing is hunting fastballs.
Right.
And that makes hitting pretty much like batting practice, right?
Yeah.
But I liked your answer about playing against the competition. And another thing, Nuts, too, I'll add is, he's on my team, so I get to watch him hit. I get to work with him pregame. That's a question that changes from hitter to hitter, too.
Yeah, understanding.
And so
who you
like
are, yeah.
like Nuts, my answer to that question for him is different than it would be for Michael Bailey on my team.
Right, yeah.
Or, Brady Stevers. Like you have to know what type of game you have. And Nuts might have the most bat speed on my team. And he's not a speed guy. He's a catcher, a third baseman, and I'm trying to teach him how to play first so that he can find a way to be in every lineup that, on every team he's going to be on in the future.
Right.
Because the more positions you can play, the more versatile you are and the more valuable you are. And so that's the type of player he is. So he's a player who needs to hit doubles and he needs to drive runs in. He's not a guy who needs to really perfect bunting for a hit.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a different answer for everyone. And for Nuts, like I said, he's got one of the faster bats on the team. And so he's a power guy. And one thing too, I'll say for you Nuts is when I was with the Angels, the most important metrics for us were chase rate, swing and miss rate, and average exit velo. And, with today's technology and TrackMan, it's very easy for minor leaguers and major leaguers to track those stats. And it all goes into a computer algorithm, kind of like our stats do, and it's all there. And they know every metric on you, the scouting reports, they're all there. And so for Nuts, one of the things we've been working on in the cage is he smokes balls, right? But every third or fourth swing is a foul ball. He flares one and he misses one. And so I told him pregame, before our last game, I was like, look, dude, you have plenty of bat speed. What I need you to have more of is more barrel control because these balls that you're fouling off in a game, or maybe you just miss them and you roll over it. I would rather you swing 5% less hard
and get the barrel
increase
to the
your
ball.
barrel percentage by 20-30%. And because he's a guy who's got a lot of pop, but the consistency is where I think, for you Nuts is where we can improve the most. And that will have the biggest impact on your game. Because the most important step to evolve to becoming a more consistent hitter for you, I think, is just simply barreling the ball more often. So, yeah.
I heard this guy once say, would you rather get hit by a motorcycle going 90 miles an hour or a train going 30? And the correct answer to that question is neither. But if you had to choose, you would think, the one that's going slower. But the answer is actually the motorcycle because the train is so much bigger and the force at impact would be so much greater that you'd actually have a better chance of surviving the motorcycle accident. And he used that analogy to say, hey, like you're trying to create force when you swing. And so to your point, it's like, I'd rather you take a little bit off and, be consistent with the barrel because that's going to provide more force than for you to be super, super quick and you're not as consistent and not as, impactful with your swing. So,
yeah. Another thing too, Nuts, I'll add, man, did I just forget what I was going to say? Sorry, I was focused on what you were saying and I think I forgot.
Yeah, no, it happens to me all the time. You have to sometimes you got to jot it down really quick.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
But hey, yeah, Ken, do you have anything quick to add while Justin's trying to jog his memory?
I'm not a hitter, but I was going to say it wouldn't really apply to Knudsen if he's got fast hands. But if you want to perform at a high level and you have slow hands, you can work on mechanics every day of the week, but if you can't catch up to velo or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That's why I had to work my tail off to throw hard. Well, if I just simplified it, and if hard, you got to do it often. You got to get in the weight room, and if you got a lot of slow twitch muscles and you're in the weight room just training slow, I don't think it's going to really help you. So if you've got slow bat speed and slow hands, and you're just hitting off the tee and you're not really working on moving fast or doing something that's uncomfortable, well, then you're never going to do it. So I take the example of, well, if you're going to go out as a pitcher and just throw 45 miles an hour every day and then try to step on the mound and you're going to try to throw 90, it's just not going to happen. So if you want to compete at the high level, go train, whether it be in the weight room or band resisted swings or whatever the hitting drills are, because I don't really pay attention to that as much as I do the pitching side. But if you want to do that and you've got slow hands, well, let's speed that up, because if you've got fast hands, and then you can go clinic or a dude who knows how to do it, and you can work on the mechanics. Then it works. But it's I kind of think of a $500 bat won't fix $100 swing.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's so true.
Yeah, physicality is king for sure. I'd rather have a guy who's really strong. I'd rather teach him how to swing than have a kid with a great swing who moves super slow. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
It's easier to teach hitting mechanics than it is to teach somebody to move fast, I think. So good stuff there.
Or how to just make contact with the baseball.
Yeah, for sure. We got one more question.
Yeah.
I think this will be a quick one.
Yeah. This is on our way out. Do we keep up with defensive metrics, and is that something college coaches look at? So I answer the latter first. They do look at how a player, the mechanics of their fielding, their fielding ability, essentially. They don't come up and ask us about stats, really. I surmise that more will, with knowing that we track stats now, but they don't. We don't track it. But I'll let Justin get into more about what college coaches look for, especially in infielders and stuff.
Yeah, I think how players look and how athletic they are and how they field and how they throw is probably more important than
it's like a movement thing,
than what someone or a dad or a parent or whoever does Game Changer puts down. Because a lot of times, errors and hits, there's a lot of gray area there depending on who the scorekeeper is. For us currently, we don't keep up with defensive metrics the way we do our offensive metrics. Obviously, our coaching staff, we evaluate guys defensively, and that was one of the things I did pregame with Coach Cal's team. I was like, look, I gave feedback to a player, you need to do this way better. If you're going to play this position, you need to do this better because you're struggling with this. And I can tell you're not ready to be like a varsity guy or a college level infielder by doing, moving this way and fielding this way. And so it's obviously something we're looking at and we talk about and we evaluate and we give feedback to players on things that we think they need to improve. We don't, I can't tell you who has the most errors in the program. I mean, actually, I probably could if I thought about it for a minute.
Yeah.
But I don't have it on a sheet of paper in front of me like I know who's got the highest quality at bat percentage in the program.
Right.
College coaches obviously care about you have to be a good defender to be able to play at a high level. But I think when you get on their college campus or when they're playing or when a player is playing in front of them, that probably speaks more volumes than how many errors did you make for your high school team.
Yeah, exactly.
Because who knows who's keeping up with the stats? Who knows what type of field you play on? Who knows how bad your first baseman is?
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. Yeah, for sure.
I think the eye test is going to be for college coaches a lot more important.
But is it something we'll track in the future? It may. Again, I would like to come up with a simple, comprehensive system that tracks pitching and defense at the same time. But again, that's just something that we're going to have to discuss and think about and figure out. But yeah, so just look for that. In the future, we'll be having more discussions in regards to, calculating pitching and defensive stats. Thank you guys. We're going to bring it to a close. It's getting late, 10:30.
I got to go to bed.
Yep, he's got to go to bed. And yeah, I got to go to bed too. I know kids.
Thanks for the questions. Do you guys want to pick a favorite so I can give a t-shirt out? We actually had some good ones there at the end.
Yeah, that let's pick one. It was one of the ones I think that was submitted. That was the best.
The player development one.
Yeah, that one's the best for me.
Well, I don't want to give a kid who I don't even know the shirt. I don't even know that guy.
yeah, that's
He just-
right. Yeah,
he-
okay.
I mean, he might want to play for us. He probably does, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Even know
I'll
him.
pick it. I'll pick it from the chat
got
then.
Quentin
I'm gonna-
Peterson, nuts.
I like the question. I like the Q question too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nuds.
You like nuts? I like nuts
like that
question
one.
too.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
nuts.
Yep. Shout out.
I got a shirt for you, brother. Come see me. That's all we got for tonight. Thank you, Ked.
Thank you guys.
Josh, thank you for all you do. Podcast.
Yep.
Love it. Good night, everybody.
Adjourned.